So today we are going to start a new subject, that is the C language. So before going into the C language directly, first we want to know two basic things. Those things are, what is a language and what do you mean by the term called programming language. So what is a language? Generally, language is used for communication purpose. That means if I want to communicate with other people, I want to use the language. So what is a language means? It is for communication. For communication, there are set of rules how to speak. If I want to speak in English, there are set of rules and regulations. Like for example, we need to pronounce in a proper grammatical manner. So by using the rules, by using the grammatical conditions, we can use or we can speak the perfect language or a good language. So in the same manner, what is a programming language? Programming language is nothing but in order to communicate with the devices. All the electronic devices will be communicating with the humans. Like for example, if we want to communicate with our TV, so we use a remote controller. Or if we want to if we want to do any particular task, we use the computer languages or the programming languages. So programming languages are used for communication purposes. In order to communicate with a device, humans generally use the term called programming languages. So what is a programming language? Programming language is also a set of instructions. Set of instruction. Simply what we call it as, it is simply a software. Programming language is nothing but it is a set of instructions, or simply we can say it as a software. Okay. Why? Programming language. So what is the need of using the programming language? So if we want to calculate any complex operations, we need the electronic gadget. Let us take an example. For example, if I want to calculate what is the 3 factorial, we can simply say it as a 6. What is the factorial of 5? We can simply say it again as a 120. Then what is the factorial of 120? It is not possible to tell the value of 120 factorial immediately. Why? Because this factorial of 120 is difficult. That means it is very complex. It is difficult to calculate the value. These complex tasks will be assigned to the electronic devices to do manually. What is the use? Means if this value is calculated by the humans, hardly it will take 2 to 3 minutes of time. Hardly it will take 2 to 3 minutes of time. But the same problem, if it is given to any electronic device, it will get the result in 2 to 3 seconds. Not in 2 to 3 seconds. It will give the result in 1 second. So here the time is less when compared to human calculation. So how we are going to assign this task to an electronic gadget? So the humans need to pass the instructions for a computer. But for a computer. But the computer cannot understand English. The computer cannot understand English or Telugu. That means the computer cannot understand the human language. What is the language that will be understandable by the computer? Means whether it can be in the form of zeros or ones. That is, the computer can understand only the binary language. But humans cannot understand the binary language. The reason is binary language is very hard to learn. So that's why what we need to do is we need to learn one programming language. Humans need to learn one programming language. The programming language can be C, C++, or Java, or it can be any language. So after learning the programming languages, we need to write the code in the computer. After writing the code, what the humans need to do is they need to check whether the written code is correct or not. That means, for example, if you are talking in English, we don't know whether we are talking in a correct manner or not. So in the same way, whenever we are writing the code, there is no guarantee that we will write in a perfect manner. So that's why in order to complete our task successfully and perfectly, we require the compiler. What is a compiler? Compiler is also a program. This program is a predefined program. That means it is already defined in the C language. So, whenever we are using the compiler, it will check the errors in our code. If there are no errors in our code, it will convert our code in the form of binary language. That means it will convert in the form of in this manner. So now this language will be given as the input. This language will be given as the input for the computer. For then it provides the output. And this is the whole procedure if we want to learn or if we want to assign any task for a computer. Let us understand clearly once again. In order to calculate the complex tasks manually, what we do is we will assign the task to any electronic gadget. But humans can understand a human readable language. Those human readable language will not be understood by the computer. So for this reason, the human need to learn any one of the programming language. So the human need to be perfect in a the human need to be perfect in any one of the programming language. So the programming languages will be like C, C++, Java and so on. So what is the reason for knowing the language perfectly? Without knowing the language perfectly, we cannot able to write the code. Even though if we write the code, we need to write it in a proper manner. So if you are writing the code in a proper manner, the compiler will check whether our code is right or wrong. Here, what is a compiler? Compiler is nothing but it is also a program. But this program is predefined. What is the use of compiler? It will check the code what we write. If there are any errors, it will not execute or it will not convert the programming language into the machine language. If there are no errors in the code, then compiler will convert the programming language into the machine language. And this machine language will be given as the input for the computer or any electronic device. Now, and this computer will now produce an output. This is the procedure why we require the programming language. What is the reason for learning the programming language? In order to execute the process or a task in an easier manner, we will assign the task to a computer. So computer can do it in an easy manner by following these steps. What happens if you don't assign a work to a computer? That means even though if it is a complex task, if it is done by humans or if it is done by computer, what will happen? Let us consider the ATM machines. So if there are no banks, if there are no ATMs available, that means if there is no software available to the humans, what we need to do? We need to go for a bank. After going to the bank, we need to wait in a queue. We need to write a form to withdrawal, and again we need to stand in a queue. If the bank has, or if the cash is there in the bank, then the bank people will give you. If there is no bank, if there is no money in the bank, what the cashier will do? He will ask us to come tomorrow, or he will ask us to wait for certain period of time. That means in order to go to the bank, waiting in the queue and checking the cash counter, it is a bit difficult process for a human's patience. So nowadays, what we people are doing, we are using the ATMs. If we are using the ATMs, what is happening? Simply we are going to the ATM machine, and if there is any queue, we'll stand there and we'll put our ATM card. Automatically we withdraw some amount. That means the withdrawal of amount can be done in an easier manner. So in that manner, all the tasks of humans will be easier. Clear? After knowing the reason of learning the programming languages, now how many types of applications can we develop by using the programming languages? So by using programming languages, we can develop many number of applications. So applications are categorized into two types. First one is standalone application, and the second one is web based application. So what do you mean by the term called standalone application, and what is a web based application? So standalone applications are nothing but it is desktop applications. In a previous In the earlier days, standalone applications were called as a desktop applications. Why? Because the standalone applications need to be installed on the computer. That means if you want to work with any application, you need to install this particular application in your computer. Like for example, if you want to use MS Office, or if you want to use MS PowerPoint, without installing the PowerPoint software or without installing MS Office software, is it possible to use the PowerPoint application? No. Why? Because whenever we are developing or whenever we are installing a particular software or an application, after installing only we can able to work with that software. Those type of softwares are called as a standalone applications. Now what do you mean by the web based application? So web based applications don't need to install. That means no need to install on the computer. Without installing on the computer only, we can able to access the web based applications. Web is nothing but the internet. So by using the internet, we can access to any application. Like, can you quote some examples? So the examples of web based application are, if you want to access your Gmail, simply nowadays Gmail is having some software, but previously we don't have any Gmail software or we don't have any Facebook software. Even nowadays also, if you open Google Chrome and if you type www.gmail.com, simply it will open you the login page. That means if you want to access the Gmail account, you're not supposed to install the Gmail software in your account. In the same manner, if you want to access the Facebook, so allows you to show the login page of the Facebook, where you need to enter the user ID and password. So if you want to use the Facebook also, you're not supposed to install the application. So this is the difference between standalone application and the web-based application. Some more examples for standalone application are MS Office, OVLC, then is Google Chrome, Mozilla, and all these are examples of desktop applications or standalone applications. Now, web-based applications examples are Gmail, Facebook, and even Instagram nowadays. So, and so on, you can access. Thank you.